press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello all. Once again, I am Salma. I am with you with the second part of the English lesson, Nelson Mandela, Long Walk to Freedom. So in this second part, I hope that all are doing good. Is it? In the last class, I given some assignments to you. It's a part of homework to you. Is it? Some of the questions which is related to textbook and for that lesson which I had done in the previous class. I hope that all are having your answers now, right now, is it? But once again, I am telling you, I am clarifying that what kind of answers you have. Is it right or wrong? Check your answers now, okay? Excuse me. Guys, I have some questions, okay, last class questions here. Where did the ceremonies take place? Can you name any public buildings in India that are made of sandstone? Is it? This is the question. This ceremony took place in the amphitheater in Pretoria. Is it? Do you know India's building which is made up of sandstone? You have any answer? Okay, I have the answer here. The answer is in India, that is Rashtrapati Bhavan and Red Fort. The Rashtrapati Bhavan and Red Fort. So these are the two buildings which were made up of sandstone. Is it? So now you check your answers, all of you. If it is wrong, don't worry. So once again, you go through with that. Okay, and try to read regularly. Can you say how 10th May is an 10th May is an autumn day in South Africa? I told you this. 10th May month in India, it is a summer season because in India, the geographical location of India, it is situated in the northern hemisphere. But what about Africa? It is situated in a southern hemisphere. So the month of May, the season is autumn month, but in India it is a season is summer month. Okay, this is the thing. Third question, at the beginning of his speech, Mandela mentions an extraordinary human disaster. What does he mean by this? What is the glorious human achievement he speaks of at the end? So here, the extraordinary human disasters was the practice of apartheid in South Africa. What is that? Apartheid. In the last class, I had written on the board, apartheid means the state of policy of racism. Racism is nothing but the difference between a color. The white color, the black color. And it is more common in Africa because we see more black people, that is Negroes, we call them Negroes, is it? During apartheid, and the next question is, what is the glorious human achievement he speaks of at the end? Here is, during apartheid regime, there was a racial segregation based on skin color of people. Black people did not have a proper constitutional rights. So here, this apartheid, the policy is, the black people, they don't have a rights to elect their president. Only the white skin color, the people they have, and the black people did not have a proper constitutional rights. So this is the racial segregation, the separation of the people from rest of the people who have the rights. Okay, so this is the thing. Now that becomes a glory because everybody comes to an equal rights. Everybody is having a freedom that they can vote their president, they can elect their leader. Okay, now they got the rights. That becomes a glorious for the South Africa. And it was become a glorious human achievement. Next question is, what does Mandela thank the international leaders for? So fourth one, during apartheid, here is the question. During the apartheid era, many countries had served diplomatic ties with South Africa. On that day, most of the countries' dignitaries were present to attend the swearing-in ceremony. This was the gestures of international recognition to a newly free nation. Nelson Mandela was thanking them for this recognition. Okay, so the people, the leaders, the dignitaries who are attended in that occasion, so he wanted to thank to them because they are representing today. The day is representing Africa. The day is representing how the Africa now. What are their ideas? What are the future ideas, the future plans? So he is thankful to the people who are joined in that ceremony, or attended in that ceremony. Here, next question is, what ideals does he set out for the future of the South Africa? Mandela set out the ideals of poverty. Here, the main ideals for his is poverty elevation. Means he wanted to remove the poverty and the suffering, removal of the suffering of people. I told you, the people who not got the basic rights. So he wanted to remove from the country the poverty. He also said that ideal for a society where there would no discrimination based on gender and racial origins. Okay, so he wanted to see his country that there will be no racial discrimination or gender discrimination. There is no differences. There should be the equality. There should be not inequality on the basis of gender or racism. Okay, so these are the questions. These are the answers to those questions which one I have said in the last class. Okay, I hope that all of you corrected your answers. Whatever I told you, you got your answers. Okay. So now I will move on to the next part today. Here is in the page number 21, I left over this in the beginning of the paragraph. The line starts from, perhaps, I told you, this is, in the last class I told you, the Nelson Mandela, he's an occasion that he was the first black president of South Africa. The land is never seen this kind of a glory, never seen this kind of a beautiful event ever before. Because the people are suffered, the people were tortured, the people were treated very cruelly, very badly by the Britishers. So now the day came, and he is also fight against this racism that is called apartheid. The state of policy is called apartheid. Okay, and he recalled some of the people who sacrifices their life, the thousands of people who sacrifices their life, and he is also recalling the leaders, the anti-apartheid leaders. Okay, I told you the names. That is Yusuf Dadus, then Robert Sabukwi, then Chief Luthuli, then Walter Sisulu, Oliver Tambo, Bram Fisher. So he is recalling their courage, their generosity and wisdom. Okay, so this is the lesson in the last class, and now I am moving on to the next part. Perhaps it requires such depths of operation to create such heights of character. My country is rich in the minerals and gems that lie beneath its soil, but I have always known that its greatest wealth is its people, finer and truer than the purest diamond. See how lovely words he is using here for its country and for its people. So he says here, the country which is the richest of the minerals like the gems, the gems are very precious, the worthless stones, the diamonds, like it is. It's a lie beneath the soil, under the soil. It is situated under the soil. But I have always known that its greatest wealth is the people. Okay, he says that in his country, there are so many minerals, means gems. You know that in Africa, we get a lot of precious diamonds. But he says that the main gems are the people. For me and for my country, the main gems are the people. He compares the people to the gems. They are the finer and truer than the purest diamonds. The people are the finer, the purer, truer. They are very true to the nature. They are very pure, like a diamond. Who? The people. It is from these comrades in the struggle that I learned the meaning of courage. Time and again, I have seen men, women risk and give their lives for an idea. So, comrades, companion. Okay, C-O-M-P-A-N-I-O-N, companion. This is the meaning of the word comrades. I told you, in between the class, in between the lesson, if I say some new words, you have to write down, okay, for your references. I have seen, here he says that comrades in the struggle that had learned meaning of courage. So he learned the quality of courage by the comrades, the companion, for whom he was working with the people, he was living with the people. So by seeing them, by seeing their courage, he has learned the courage. Who? Nelson Mandela. Time and again, I have seen men, women risk and give their lives for an idea. The people, the men and women, they have made their lives risky because for one idea. I have seen men stand up to attacks and torture without breaking, showing strength and resilience that defies the imagination. Here he says the men, he saw that men, so which are attacks, they are tortured, the attacks and tortured, okay, and they will never break their strengths and they defies the imagination. So they're only thinking about the future. I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. The brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers the fear. What a wonderful words he has written here. He has says in this occasion. So what is that? He says that what is a courage? Courage is a nothing but courage. So I wanted to write this line because it's very important. Courage was not the absence of fear. Absence of fear, but triumph over it. See, courage is, he compares the courage, it's not about a fear. Courage was not the absence of fear. When we see the courage, we will say that that person is not having courage, means he is afraid. But it is not the absence of fear. It is a triumph over it. Means we should conquer over the fear. That is called courage. Here he says in the line, but the brave man is not he who does not feel afraid, but he who conquers that fear. Yes, everybody feel afraid whenever we see something very strange, very risky, very kind of if it comes to the sacrifices, we fear. Sometimes we feel because it is a part of our what called the human's emotions. Okay, so we have to fear, we have to afraid, but it is not the absence of the courage is not the absence of fear. Everybody has the fear, but it has to overcome from that fear. Means we have to victory over that fear. We have to win over that fear. So this is called courage. No one is born hating another person because of the color of his skin, or his background, or his religion. See, what a wonderful words he says in this event. No one is born hating. When we born, we started hate to other people. Like he belongs to that religion, he belongs to that color. No, we don't know anything when we born, when we came to this world. Is it? People must learn to hate. If they can learn to hate, they can be taught to love. Okay, so he says here, people must learn to hate. They have to learn to hate. So when they start learn to hate that, they started taught to love. For love comes more naturally to the human heart than its to opposite. What about the love? The word is love for the other people. Although, so we are not discriminating the people. Okay. The love, we should not hatred to the people because of their color, because of their gender, because of their religion, because of their caste. Okay, so love should come by the heart. It should be opposite to the hatredness. Okay. Even in the grimmest times in prison, when my comrades I were pushed to our limits, I would see glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second, but it was enough to pressure me and keep me going. Okay, here he says that when he was in a prison, he is with the comrades companions. So the people, he was staying with that other people who was a prisoners. So he was with him. So he is recalling one incident when he was in a prison. The Cbse stands in prison. There is a gloomy time. There is a very important day in a prison. What is that? When my comrades and I were pushed to our limits. So we were in a boundary, we were in a limit. I would see glimmer of humanity in one of the guard. There is a guard who is serving serving in a jail. So he had some humanity to us. So what kind of that? We just see glimmer of humanity in one of the guards, perhaps just for a second. That humanity, it was for a fraction of a second. The guard, in a prison, how the people were tortured, how the people treated very badly for the criminals. He was not a criminal. He went for because he was fight against the what called people, the white people. Okay, because for that they were pushed in the jail. Here, but it was enough to pressure me and keep me going. So that God has some humanity to us. So that there is some of the fraction of second he has done some action. He's shown his humanity to us. So that's enough to me, to pressurizing me to be a good, be a whatever the aim I have to be continued that my aim. Man's goodness is a flame that can be hidden but never extinguished. The man, every person should have their a goodness quality, but it is a hidden. It was not extinguished. Extinguished means destroyed, which will nothing, which were not there. Okay, sometimes we say that if the person not say any mercy or kindness or a humanity to the people, poor people, we say that they don't have their humanity. They have the humanity, but it will be hidden somewhere. When times comes, it will come out. Okay, so this is today I am also giving some questions to you. This is only the textbook questions. Whatever I explained you about that, there are some questions. Okay, I'm reading these questions. What do the military generals do? How has their attitude changed and why? Okay, so this is the first question. Second is, why were two national anthems sung? Third one, how does Mandela describe the system of government in his country, first in the first decade and in the final decade of the 20th century? Fourth, what does courage mean to Mandela? Which does he think is natural, to love or to hate? Okay, so these are the 5 questions are there. You have to read these questions and read once again this paragraphs, and whatever I told you, I hope that you all are understood it and try to write the answers. So in the next class, I'm coming with this. I will be here with those question answers. Okay, next I'm moving to the next paragraph. In life, every man has twin obligations. Obligations to his family, to his parents, to his wife and children, and he has an obligations to his people, his community, his country. Here he says that the people, a man who is the leader, who is serving for the country, he has 2 obligations. Obligations are nothing but commitment, a duty. Okay, whatever the commitments are, first commitment is to his family. Okay, in that to their parents and to his wife and for the children. So like it is the first obligation. Next obligation is for the people and for the country and for the community. Okay, so every man should have these 2 obligations, 2 commitments. One for his family, one for his family, parents, children and for wife. Another commitment is for the people, the community and for the country. Okay, so every man should have this. In a civil and human society, each man is able to fulfill those obligations according to his own inclinations and ability. But in a country like South Africa, it was almost impossible for a man of my birth and color to fulfill both those obligations. So who have those obligations? Obligations, the duty for their family, duty for the country. So everybody try to fulfill those things. Okay, but the man like him, the man like in South Africa, what is the most important here? Because he belongs to some of the birth, because they were treated very badly with the supremacy of the white people. So whatever the things he wanted to say here, in South Africa, a color who attempted to live as a human being was punished and isolated. Okay, so in South Africa, before this event came, he is recalling just that before that, the people who was born in his community, they were tortured, they were punished, because he has born in that community. Which community? The black community, the black color community. And they kept as isolation. In South Africa, a man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people was inevitably ripped for his family and his home and was forced to live a life apart. Okay, here he says the two obligations. First obligation, the person who is living for the family, and another obligation for a person is for the people and for his country. This is the thing. If the man is ready to serve for the country, that people are going to punish and keep them isolation. Okay, and some people are there, a man, he wanted to serve for the family. So they will be live with the family and they will be die at last with their family. But the man like him, he wanted to serve for the country. At whatever the conditions are, they are ready to serve for the country. Okay. A man who tried to fulfill his duty to his people, inevitably ripped from his family and his home, was live as a life apart. Twilight existence of secrecy and rebellion. I did not in the beginning choose to place my people above my family. So he says that more than my family, my people are important, my country is important. So he kept his country first preference for his duty. But in attempting to serve my people, I found that I was prevented from fulfilling my obligation as a son, a brother, and a father, and a husband. Okay, so while I am serving for a country, while I am fulfilling my duty towards my country, I am thinking about myself, that I am fulfilling my responsibility towards to my family, as a brother, as a son, as a father, as a husband. I am fulfilling that one also. Okay, while serving to the country. Twilight, the meaning of twilight is soft light in the sky, and ripe, pulled forcefully. Okay. I was not born with a hunger to be free. I was born free in everywhere that I could know. So here he says that I was I was not born with the hunger to be free. So I born because for not to fulfill my hunger. I born because I wanted to be free. I am free. Okay, not wanted. I am free. Free free in everywhere, every way. Free means I am free in everywhere that I could know. Free to run. What free? Free to run in the fields near my mother's hut. Okay, so he wanted that freedom. What kind of a freedom? He wanted to run in the fields of the farm near the mother's hut. Free to swim in the clear stream that ran through my village. So he wanted that freedom. So what kind of a freedom? He wanted to swim in the stream which is near in the village. Free to roast the mills under the stars and ride the broad backs of slow moving bulls. Roast mills is nothing but a roasted corn. Okay, he want free to eat that roasted corn under the stars while he was sleeping at the night. He was eating with that roasted corn and watching the stars. So he want that freedom. And ride broad backs of slow moving bulls. So these conditions of the village. Okay, he see the dream. I born with this kind of a freedom. Okay. Then, as long as I obeyed my father, I abided by the customs of my tribe. I was not troubled by the laws of man or God. Whatever my fathers given me the customs, I wanted to abide by that. I wanted to stick on for that conditions, stick on for that culture, the customs, which were come from my tribe. It was only when I began to learn that my boyhood freedom was an illusion. So when I became from a small boy to from a teenager, I learned that freedom was an illusion. It's an illusion. It's an imagination. Okay, because when he was a child, he doesn't know that what is a freedom. He was freely walk in the field. He was freely swim in the stream. Then he was freely eat the roasted corn in the looking at the stars. Okay, so like that he was thinking this is the freedom. But when he became a boy, he thought that freedom is an imagination, because he lost his freedom when he became a boy. When I discovered as a young man that my freedom had already been taken from me. So he says that when he became a man, so now that freedom has gone from me. I don't have that freedom what he had enjoyed in his small age. I wanted freedom only for myself, the transitory freedom of being able to stay out at night, read what I pleased and go where I choose. Okay, so he sees that what freedom? Freedom is for myself. Wherever I wanted to go, I want to go freely. That kind of a freedom he chose. Okay. Then later, as a young man in Johannesburg, I yearned for the basic honorable freedom of achieving my potential, of earning my keep, of marrying and having a family, the freedom not be obstructed in a lawful life. Here, Johannesburg, he was in Johannesburg, he was staying in Johannesburg, he was a young man, he was earning for his family and he wanted to be settled down, but his freedom was not enough. His conditions were not enough, because have the strong desire. His strong desire is to, I wanted to earn for my family, I wanted to walk freely in the streets, okay, and he wanted to have a good family. This kind of a freedom he wanted, but it was obstructed by the lawful life. Okay, but then I slowly saw that not only was I not free, but my brothers, sisters were not free. He saw that when as a young man, he saw that I am not free. Like me, there are so many brothers or sisters, they were also not free. They are not free. I saw that it was not just my freedom that was curtailed, but the freedom of everyone who looked like I did. Okay, so here he says that the freedom is not for myself. This freedom is for my people. Like what they're thinking, like the way I am thinking. The freedom is for all. The freedom is for everything. That is when I joined the African National Congress. That day he decided that freedom is not for myself. Like me, there are so many other people out there, they wanted to be free. They wanted to become free. Okay, for that is the reason he joined in the party called African National Congress. And that is when the hunger for my own freedom became the greater hunger for the freedom of my people. So that freedom is become a hunger. You know, when we are hungry, so how we have started it? We are not looking this food is good or bad. Okay, it is tasted or tasteless. We are ready to eat, is it? So like that, he is a hunger for freedom, not for himself, for his people also. It was this desire for the freedom of my people to live their lives with dignity and self-respect that animated my life and transformed the frightened young man into a bold one, that drove law-abiding attorney to become a criminal, that turned family-loving husband into a man without a home, that forced a life-loving man to live like a monk. Okay, here he says that it was this desire, that freedom of my people live with their life with dignity, with very respectful. Here the people also live, and therefore animated my life, that transformed frightened young man into bold one. He was picturizing that life should be transformed from frightened young man. So you know, when the people are treated very badly with the supremacy, with their government, so what, always they are having a fear, they are always having a frightened. Okay, so that frightened, that changes into the bold one. Okay, he wanted to transfer the people's fear into a bold quality. That drew law-abiding attorney to become a criminal. So, who are the attorneys or who are making the laws? So they should not become criminals. That turn a family-loving husband into a man without a home. The man who is loving to his family and for their wife and children, the man should not become a homeless. So that freedom I need. That forced life loving man to live like a monk. Okay, the man who wanted to live a normal life, but they ready to live the life like a monk. I am no more virtuous or self-sacrificers, virtuous writers. Then the next man, but I found that I could not even enjoy the poor, limited freedoms I was allowed when I knew my people were not free. So when he was in a poor conditions, even the poor people, they are not enjoying their conditions because they don't have a freedom. They don't have the proper rights. So he want the freedom because not for himself, he wanted that freedom for the poor people. Okay. Then freedom is indivisible. The chains on any one of my people, when the chains on all of them. The chains on all of my people were the chains on me. Okay. Freedom is inevitable, indivisible. It means incapable of being divided. That freedom is not divided from one person to another person. Here it says that the chain, it is a linker. The freedom is a linker, like it depends on all. So when it depends on all, it depends on me. If it is depends on me, it depends to all. It is a link, it is a chain to all the people. Next, in the next paragraph, he says that I knew that the oppressor must be liberated just as surely as the oppressed. A man who takes away another man's freedom is a prisoner of hatred. He is locked behind the bars of prejudice and narrow-mindedness. Okay, here he says the oppressed, the people who are treated very badly, so they become a chains on. They become a liberated like the man who takes away another man's freedom. Okay, the people who treated, here he compares the white people treated very badly to the black people. Okay, they took away their freedom. They took away their freedom and they put in a prison, and it becomes a hatred for them. He is locked behind the bars and prejudice. Prejudice, it will be a strong dislike without any good reason. It is a strong dislike. There is no reason to dislike that person. Okay, but they are hatreding by the white people. Here, narrow-mindedness. The thinking of the people are very narrow. They are not a broad-minded. It is a narrow-minded. So their thinking is become it's very little. So this kind of thing, like they are torture, their quality. So who do this? They will be the people who are thinking very narrow-minded. There is no reason to hatred them, but they are doing. Okay, I am not truly free if I am taking away some else's freedom, just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. Okay, here he says the wonderful words, I am not truly free. I am not truly free. Really, I am not free if I am taking away someone else's freedom. If I take someone's freedom, that means that even I am also not free, truly free. Just as surely as I am not free when my freedom is taken from me. If I am also not free, it's feel like that my freedom is also taken away from me. Even I am also not free. The oppressed and the oppressor alike are robbed of their humanity. Who are be treated. So those two people are be treated with the conditions of inhumanity. The humanity, it is robbed. Robbed means it has took away all the humanity. The people who treated and whom be treated. Those two people are be robbed the humanity. The humanity were be lost. So these are the explaining of this lesson, the Nelson Mandela, the long walk to freedom. Here there are some questions to you guys. It is a small part of an assignment to you. What twin obligations, the first question is, what twin obligations does Mandela mention? I told you the twin obligations. What did being free mean to Mandela as a boy and as a student? As a boy and as a student, what kind of a free mean to him? How does he contrast these transitive freedom with the basic and honorable freedom? So how he was compares the freedom. How he wanted to transform that freedom. Does Mandela think the oppressor is free? Why and why not? Oppressor, the people who treated cruelty, means the the white people. Are they free? Okay. So these are the questions to you guys. I hope that the whole chapter you understood it well. Read once while writing the questions, and try to remember this class while you are writing the answers. So if in the next class I'll be coming with some of the answers to those questions what I given today for the assignment. Okay. So once again, keep learning, stay safe. Thank you all of you. Okay.